All right, so welcome to this deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at excerpts from Shaman Jon Rasmussen and the Four Winds Society. And specifically, we're going to be focusing on the shamanic rites of initiation from the Carl lineage of Peru. So get this. We're talking about the Munay-Ki 9 rites that could help you evolve into, get this, Homo luminous.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, the idea that these rights were once only accessible to a select few,
Yeah.
but are now being shared more openly, I mean, that's pretty fascinating in and of itself.
Yeah, it's like someone is handing us this key, to unlock this whole new level of human potential. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's just break it down a little bit. What exactly are the Munay-Ki?
Well, the term Munay-Ki comes from the Quechua language, and it translates to "I love you," but it's more than just a phrase. It's a whole system of energetic transformation. The Munay-Ki are 9 rites of initiation that are designed to clear your luminous energy field, or your LEF of any past traumas that you may be carrying.
Yeah.
And this allows you to connect with your true nature.
So it's like clearing out the energetic gunk, so to speak, so we can become, a brighter, more powerful version of ourselves. I'm starting to see why these rites were kept under wraps for so long.
Exactly. And they're said to have originated in the Hindus Valley. And they eventually made their way to the Americas, where they were guarded by the Laika, who were essentially Earthkeepers dedicated to preserving this wisdom.
Earthkeepers, it sounds almost mythical. Are we talking about people with supernatural powers here?
Not necessarily. The excerpts actually describe the Laika as ordinary people who live extraordinary lives. They're dedicated to prayer, study, and discipline. They're not born with special gifts or anything, but rather they cultivate them through dedicated practice. But what's fascinating is that they are said to have a connection to both the past and the future. Like they're able to access memories outside of linear time and even influence positive outcomes for humanity.
Wait, hold on. Influence the future. Are you saying they can predict what's going to happen?
Well, it's not so much about prediction as it is about what they call tracking along possible futures. So the idea is that by focusing our energy on positive outcomes, we can actually make them more likely to occur. It's like we can shift the trajectory of humanity towards a brighter future.
Okay, that's a pretty radical concept. But I have to admit, it's also incredibly hopeful. It makes you wonder, what if we all had access to that kind of wisdom and power?
Well, that's precisely what the Munay-Ki offer. They offer a pathway to unlock our full potential as Homo luminous.
Homo luminous. That term really sparks my curiosity. Could you unpack that a bit more for me?
Okay, well, imagine the human being that's radiating light,
Yeah.
free from the limitations of fear and ego. And they're connected to this vast network of wisdom and compassion. That's the essence of Homo luminous. It's said to be the next step in our evolutionary journey. And the Munay-Ki are the keys to unlocking this transformation.
I'm starting to see why you're so fascinated by these rites. It's not just about personal growth. It's about our collective evolution.
Exactly. And the implications are pretty mind-blowing. If we can collectively shift our consciousness toward a more luminous state, imagine the possibilities.
Okay, I'm officially on board with this Homo luminous idea. But how do we actually get there? What are these 9 rites? And how do they work?
Well, each rite has a unique purpose and effect, and they kind of build upon each other to create a powerful, energetic transformation. Let's start with the first one, the bands of power.
Okay, I'm ready to be empowered. What are the bands of power all about?
So imagine 5 luminous bands of energy that are wrapped around your body, acting like filters to protect you from negative energies. Each band represents a different element: earth, air, fire, water, and pure light. Have you ever felt drained by negative energy, maybe after a stressful meeting or being around someone who's constantly complaining?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Well, the bands of power are designed to strengthen your energetic field so you don't absorb those vibes.
So it's like having this energetic shield that deflects negativity. I like that idea. Tell me more about how these bands work.
So the excerpts describe them being connected to a rainbow glacier and gold and silver rivers flowing from the crown chakra. These bands essentially break down any negative energy that comes your way, transforming it into one of the 5 elements and actually nourishing you with it. It's like turning poison into medicine.
Wow, that's an amazing visual. I can almost feel those bands buzzing around me already. What's the next rite about?
The second rite is the healer's rite, and it connects you to a lineage of healers who assist you in your personal healing, particularly during meditation and sleep.
So it's like having a spiritual support team working on you even when you're not consciously aware of it.
Precisely. They help to heal the wounds of the past, both personal and ancestral, clearing the way for you to step into your full potential.
It makes you wonder, what kind of healing is possible when we open ourselves up to these unseen forces? What about the third rite?
Well, the third rite is the harmony rites, And it's about receiving 7 archetypes into your chakras.
Archetypes, like universal symbols or patterns. What kind of archetypes are we talking about here?
Well, each archetype represents a specific quality or energy. For example, the serpent archetype is associated with shutting the past, the jaguar with fearlessness, the hummingbird with joy and lightness, and the eagle with vision and clarity. It's almost like you're given these seeds of potential that can be cultivated through practice.
So these archetypes become part of your energetic makeup, helping you to embody those qualities more fully. It's like we're given a blueprint for becoming more balanced and whole. What happens with the fourth rite?
The fourth rite is the seer rites, and this one is all about enhancing your perception of the invisible world. They describe filaments of light being installed that connect your visual cortex to your third eye and heart chakras.
So it's like opening up a whole new way of seeing the world, beyond just the physical realm.
Exactly. Many people report being able to perceive energy, subtle realities, and even have visions after receiving this rite.
Wow, that's pretty mind-blowing. It sounds like these rites are gradually opening us up to a whole new level of awareness and possibility.
Right.
What's next on this journey of transformation?
Well, the fifth rite is the Daykeeper rites, which connects you to a lineage of Laika who were masters of ancient stone altars, places like Stonehenge or Machu Picchu.
Oh, wow. Those places have always felt magical to me. It's like they hold the energy of ancient wisdom. What's the significance of connecting with these ancient sites through the Daykeeper rites?
Well, it's about tapping into the feminine earth energies and stepping out of fear. These Laika were guardians of sacred knowledge, and this rite helps us heal our inner feminine and access that deeper wisdom.
That's fascinating. It makes me think about how many ancient cultures revered the feminine principle and its connection to the earth.
Exactly, and that leads us to the sixth rite, the Wisdom Keeper rites.
Wisdom Keeper, that sounds pretty profound. What
Yeah.
kind of wisdom are we talking about here?
Well, this rite connects you to a lineage of wisdom keepers who reside in high mountains, places where humans have long sought communion with the divine. They are said to be able to step outside of time and experience infinity.
Wow. It's almost like stepping into the shoes of a wise sage or a mountain hermit who has spent years contemplating the mysteries of life. I can see how that kind of perspective could be incredibly transformative. What about the seventh rite?
The seventh rite is the Earthkeeper rites, and this one is about becoming a steward of all life on Earth. Learning the ways of the seer and stepping into a role of greater responsibility.
It sounds like it's not just about our own personal growth anymore. It's about contributing to the well-being of the planet and all beings.
Exactly. And it's said that this rite comes with the protection of powerful archangels who are guardians of our galaxy.
That's reassuring. It sounds like we'll need all the help we can get as we step into this role of Earthkeeper.
Okay, 2 more rites to go. What's next?
The eighth rite is the Starkeeper rites. And this one anchors you to the time after a great change, specifically mentioning the year 2012. It's about evolving our physical body into that of Homo luminous and becoming more resilient to disease.
So it's like we're preparing for a new era, a time of greater harmony and enlightenment. That's the idea. And it's said to start the evolution of our physical body into Homo luminous.
Incredible. It's like we're being given a glimpse of our future selves, a future where we've transcended our current limitations and stepped into our full potential. What's the final rite all about?
Well, the ninth and final rite is the Creator rite, and it's considered the most powerful of them all. It's about awakening the godlight within and becoming a steward of all creation.
Wow, that's a heavy responsibility, but also incredibly inspiring. What does it mean to awaken the godlight within?
It's about recognizing the divine spark that resides within each of us, the creative force that allows us to shape our reality. And the excerpts actually emphasize that this rite was never transmittable from person to person until recently. It was always a direct transmission from spirit.
Oh, wow. So this is something entirely new. It's like humanity is being given access to a whole new level of power and responsibility.
Exactly. And it's up to us to use this power wisely for the benefit of all beings. It's exciting, isn't it, to think that we have the potential to evolve beyond our current limitations and become something truly extraordinary.
It really is mind-blowing. But I have to admit, part of me is also a little skeptical. It all sounds a bit, mystical.
Yeah.
Can we really become Homo luminous just by receiving these 9 rites?
That's a great question, and one that many people have. What's fascinating is that the Munay-Ki aren't asking us to blindly believe anything. They're inviting us to experience these energies for ourselves and see what unfolds.
That's a good point. It's not about dogma or blind faith. It's about direct personal exploration. That's something I can get behind. But how do we even begin to explore something as vast and complex as the Munay-Ki?
Well, that's where the role of a teacher comes in. The excerpts mention that these rites are traditionally passed down through lineages of luminous beings, people who have dedicated their lives to preserving and transmitting this wisdom.
So it's like finding a mentor or guide who can help you navigate this path of transformation. I can see how that would be essential, especially when dealing with such potent energies.
Exactly. And by receiving the Munay-Ki from a lineage holder, you're tapping into that stream of ancient wisdom and connecting with a community of like-minded individuals.
That sense of community is something I've always found appealing about spiritual traditions. It's like having a support system on your journey of self-discovery.
Absolutely. And it's not just about receiving support from others, it's also about giving back and contributing to the collective good.
That's something the excerpts emphasize as well, the importance of stewardship, of taking responsibility for the well-being of all creation.
It's a powerful message, and one that's particularly relevant in our current times, as we face unprecedented challenges on a global scale.
I couldn't agree more. It feels like we're at a critical crossroads, and the Munay-Ki offer a potential roadmap for navigating these turbulent waters. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'd love to learn more about the practical side of integrating these rites into our lives.
That's a great transition. The excerpts highlight the Munay-Ki fire ceremony as a key practice for integration.
A fire ceremony? That sounds intense. What exactly does that involve?
Well, it can be quite powerful, you know?
Yeah.
It involves creating a sacred space and calling on the four directions and elements, and using fire to germinate the seeds of the rites that have been planted in your luminous energy field.
I love that image of germination. You know, it speaks to the organic nature of this process. Like, it's not about forcing anything, but creating the right conditions for growth.
Exactly. And fire ceremony provides those conditions. It's a way of intentionally activating the energies of the rites and integrating them into your being.
The excerpts also mention something about feeding the bands of power with energy from the elements. What does that entail?
So it's a practice of consciously connecting with the elements: earth, water, fire, air, and pure spirit, and directing their energies into the corresponding bands. Remember those bands of power we talked about? They're like energetic shields that protect us from negativity. This practice is like giving those shields a boost of energy, making them even stronger.
So it's almost like we're actively participating in our own energetic well-being. I'm curious, do the excerpts offer any specific examples of how to do this?
They do. For example, when you're working with earth like gardening, or even just admiring a mountain, you can imagine some of that earth energy flowing into the black band, which represents the element of earth. Or when you're enjoying a bath or swimming in a lake, you can visualize the water energy flowing into the red band, which represents the element of water.
Those are great examples. It's about being mindful of our surroundings and consciously connecting with the energies that are present.
Exactly. It's a simple yet powerful practice that can help us maintain a state of balance and protection in our daily lives.
Yeah, I can see how those practices could be really helpful, especially in our modern world where we're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation. It's like we need those energetic shields now more than ever.
I agree. And it's not just about protecting ourselves from negativity. It's also about consciously cultivating positive energies and allowing them to flow through us.
That makes me think of the concept of Homo luminous again, and how it's about radiating light and embodying those qualities of compassion, wisdom, and interconnectedness. It's not just about what we do, but who we are at our core.
That's a beautiful insight.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the transformative potential of these teachings. It's not just about acquiring knowledge or techniques. It's about a fundamental shift in consciousness.
Speaking of shifts in consciousness, the excerpts also mention the Leica's ability to access memories outside of linear time and even influence future outcomes. Can we talk about that a bit more?
Certainly. This idea really challenges our conventional understanding of time. The Leica believe that time is not linear, but rather a spiral, and that we can access memories from past lives or even future possibilities.
That's a fascinating concept. I've always been intrigued by the idea of past lives, but to think that we could also tap into future possibilities is mind-boggling.
It is, and it speaks to the interconnectedness of all things. The idea that we are not separate individuals, but rather part of a larger web of consciousness.
It makes me wonder, if we could access those future possibilities, what kind of choices would we make differently in the present?
That's a great question to ponder. It highlights the importance of intention and the power of our choices to shape the future.
And the Munay-Ki offer us a framework for making those choices from a more conscious and aligned place.
Exactly. By clearing out the energetic gunk of the past and aligning ourselves with our true nature, we can step into our full power as co-creators with the divine.
It's a powerful message of hope and possibility, one that feels particularly relevant in our current world where there's so much uncertainty and fear.
Absolutely. The Munay-Ki offer a path of empowerment, reminding us that we have the ability to choose love over fear, to step into our full potential, and to create a brighter future for ourselves and all beings.
And it's not just about sitting on a mountaintop meditating, right? It's about bringing those qualities of Homo luminous into our daily lives and making a real difference in the world.
Precisely. The Munay-Ki are not meant to be kept secret or hoarded. They're meant to be shared and used to heal the planet and all its inhabitants.
So how can we practically apply these teachings in our daily lives? Beyond the fire ceremony and feeding the bands of power, are there other things we can do to integrate the Munay-Ki?
Well, there are many ways to integrate the Munay-Ki into our daily lives. One important aspect is cultivating a sense of gratitude and appreciation for all that is.
That's something that resonates with me deeply. I find that when I'm feeling grateful, it's easier to stay connected to my heart and to act from a place of love and compassion.
Exactly. Gratitude is a powerful practice that can help us shift our perspective and open our hearts to the beauty and abundance that surrounds us.
Another thing that comes to mind is the importance of living in alignment with our values. If we're trying to embody the qualities of Homo luminous, we need to make choices that reflect those values.
I couldn't agree more. It's about walking our talk, so to speak. Aligning our actions with our deepest values is essential for creating a life that is truly authentic and meaningful.
And it's not always easy, is it? We all have those moments where we fall short or make choices that we later regret.
Of course, we're human after all. But the Munay-Ki remind us that we are always capable of course correction, of returning to a path of love and wholeness.
It's like we're given a compass that helps us find our way back to our true north.
That's a great analogy. And remember, the journey of transformation is not a linear one. It's a spiral with its ups and downs, its twists and turns.
I appreciate that reminder. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of striving for perfection, but the truth is it's all about the journey.
Exactly. And the Munay-Ki offer us a framework for embracing the journey with all its challenges and triumphs, knowing that we are always supported and guided along the way.
This deep dive has been so insightful. I'm feeling inspired to learn more and perhaps even seek out a teacher who can guide me further on this path.
That's wonderful to hear. Remember, the journey of discovery is just beginning. There's a whole world of wisdom waiting to be explored.
I can't wait to see where it leads. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier. The idea that the Munay-Ki are meant to be shared and used to heal the world. How can we practically do that? What does it look like to bring these teachings into the world in a way that makes a real difference?
That's a great question, and one that we all need to be asking ourselves.
No.
I think it starts with embodying the qualities of Homo luminous in our daily lives.
So it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly. It's about being the change we want to see in the world.
Can you give me some specific examples? What does it look like to embody those qualities in a practical way?
Well, it could be as simple as offering a kind word to a stranger, volunteering our time to a cause we care about, or making conscious choices that support the well-being of the planet.
I like that. It's about those small acts of kindness and compassion that ripple outwards and create a more positive and loving world.
Precisely. And as we cultivate those qualities within ourselves, we become beacons of light, inspiring others to do the same.
It's like we're creating a network of Homo luminous beings, radiating love and healing energy outwards into the world.
That's a beautiful image. And it speaks to the interconnectedness of all things, the idea that we are all part of one another.
This conversation has given me so much to think about. I'm feeling inspired to take what I've learned and put it into practice in my own life.
That's wonderful to hear. Remember, every step we take towards embodying the qualities of Homo luminous brings us closer to creating a more harmonious and loving world.
I'm ready for that brighter future. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I want to touch on. The ninth rite, the creator rite.
Ah, yes, the most powerful rite of them all. The one that awakens the godlight within and grants stewardship over all creation.
It's a pretty profound concept, and the excerpts mention that this rite was never transmittable from person to person until recently. What does that mean for us now?
It suggests that humanity is being given access to a new level of power and responsibility. The godlight, the creative force that resides within each of us, is becoming more accessible.
That's both exciting and a little daunting. How do we navigate this new territory responsibly?
Well, it all comes back to intention.
Hmm.
What are we creating with this power? Are we using it to benefit ourselves or to serve the greater good?
It's a question we all need to be asking ourselves, especially as we step into this new era of Homo luminous. As we've been discussing these rights and the potential for becoming Homo luminous, it's hard not to draw parallels to stories and myths we've heard throughout history.
It's true. The idea of humans transcending their limitations and achieving a higher state of being is a recurring theme across cultures and traditions.
Exactly. Think about the stories of enlightened beings, mystics, and prophets who are said to have attained extraordinary abilities. Is it possible that they were tapping into something similar to what the Munay-Ki describe?
It's certainly an intriguing possibility. The excerpts even quote a passage from the Bible. Behold, the man has become as one of us to know good and evil. Could this be hinting at the potential for humans to evolve into beings with a greater understanding of the universe and their place within it?
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe these ancient teachings are pointing towards something that's always been within our reach, but we've just forgotten how to access it.
Perhaps.
Mhm.
And the Munay-Ki could be a way of remembering that ancient wisdom and activating those dormant potentials within ourselves.
I'm also struck by the emphasis on stewardship in these teachings. It's not just about our own personal transformation, but about using these gifts to benefit all beings. It's a big responsibility, but also an incredibly inspiring one.
Absolutely. It aligns with the concept of Homo luminous as not just a being of light, but also a being of service, someone who uses their expanded awareness and abilities to create a more harmonious and sustainable world.
It makes me think of the Laika and their role as Earthkeepers. They're not just preserving ancient wisdom, they're actively working to protect the planet and guide humanity towards a brighter future.
Exactly. And the Munay-Ki offer us a way to join them in that mission. They empower us to become Earthkeepers in our own right, no matter where we are in the world or what our circumstances might be.
So it's not about waiting for some external savior or hoping that someone else will fix the problems of the world. It's about recognizing that we each have a role to play in creating the future we want to see.
Precisely. And the Munay-Ki provide us with the tools and guidance
Mm.
to step into that role with confidence and clarity.
It's a powerful message of empowerment, and one that feels especially important in our current times. With so much division and uncertainty in the world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and powerless. But the Munay-Ki remind us that we're not alone and that we have the potential to make a real difference.
I agree. They offer a path of hope and healing, not just for ourselves, but for the planet as a whole.
This deep dive has been such a gift. It's given me a renewed sense of purpose and possibility, and I'm so grateful for your insights and expertise.
The pleasure was all mine. It's always inspiring to engage in these kinds of conversations.
And to our listener who has been on this journey with us, I want to say thank you for diving deep with us today. We hope this exploration of the Munay-Ki has sparked your curiosity and perhaps even inspired you to embark on your own path of discovery.
As you continue to ponder these ancient teachings, we invite you to ask yourself, which of these 9 rites resonates with you most strongly, and why? What potential for transformation do you see in embracing these ancient teachings?
Remember, this is just the beginning. There are countless resources available to help you deepen your understanding of the Munay-Ki and their potential impact on your life. So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep the fire of transformation burning bright.
Until next time, may your journey be filled with wonder and possibility.